Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Chatting with Carnivores. I'm JT from the Poco Moonshine family. Today, I'm here with my buddy Jeff. How you doing?
I'm great, JT. Loving this beautiful day here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, it was nice. You got the sun out. Have you done any like outside work yet at your house yet or anything?
Yes, actually, I have an interesting story we can maybe get to about last weekend. Spent 20 some hours in the yard pulling buckthorn and all kinds of stuff, and I was amazed at my energy level. Even still, couldn't believe it.
It's awesome, and I can't wait to talk about all that. Now, you are on the carnivore diet, and that's why we're here today. So, can you talk about like what inspired you to try carnivore? Like, how'd you get there?
Well, I got there back in 22, September of 22. I woke up with a very loud crack in my left shoulder and couldn't move it. Ended up going to the doctor, found out I have calcific tendonitis or had calcific tendonitis in my left shoulder. Right here, it's a little jelly bean size, basically bone growth right in your tendon where it's not supposed to be. And I had moved sleeping, kind of just went like that, and it cracked really loud and it hurt really bad. Didn't know I even had it until that moment, and did some research. Went to the doctor, found out what I had. They took some x-rays. I was bound and determined not to have surgery. My sister had this in both of her shoulders and had surgery, then had frozen shoulder in one of them, had a second surgery. So I kind of knew what that looked like, and there was no way I was going to try to do that. So I was on a mission to find anything natural that I could do to get rid of that. Started doing some apple cider vinegar, which helped a little bit, but nothing major. And I'm watching YouTube videos, and I'm just going through stuff because I'm kind of a geek that way. I like my science. I have a meteorology degree. I have a phy degree with biomechanics and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of like the nerdy science stuff. And I'm going through different videos on diet, and I'm eating the standard American diet for 53 years. And this Jordan Peterson video just kept coming up. Like every night I do click, and finally I'm like, all right, I'll click on it. And I like Jordan Peterson for other stuff, but I clicked on it, and it was this Joe Rogan video about him and his daughter Michaela and this crazy carnivore diet. And it's 5 years ago or 6 years ago now, whatever it was. And I watched that, and I was like blown away. I'm like, holy crap, what the hell is this, right? And he's talking about his daughter Michaela and her juvenile arthritis and having a hip replaced and ankle replaced and all this stuff as a teenager. I'm going, okay, this is crazy. So, of course, the next video I click on is her video with Joe Rogan, and she goes through her story, and that really piqued my interest. And I'm like, this is like the end of February after a cortisone shot, and it was getting sore again, and I was going to have to go back in for my second cortisone shot. You only get 2 before they want to do the surgery on you. And I watched this, and I'm like, she's like, I got rid of arthritis, and I got rid of all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, you got rid of arthritis? And I had arthritis in both of my elbows for 10 years. And I'm like, well, I love steak. I never eat steak because, for 50 some years, I've been told it's bad for me, and I'm like, well, you know what? March 1st, I'm going to try it. So this was like the end of February 20th, something like that. And I kind of ate through a couple things in my house. And March 1st, I just jumped right in, straight carnivore. And I had been watching like Dr. Westman videos, where he's talking like 20 carbs or less, right? More ketogenic, weight loss, diabetes type stuff. And some Ben Bickman videos, Dr. Berry videos, Dr. Chafee videos. I go on and on and on. But I started March 1st, and I just jumped right in. And the most amazing thing, JT, is in 2 days, the arthritis in my elbows was gone. And in 2 weeks, I could lift my shoulder above my head, and it still hurt a little bit, but I could do it. And on March 1st, I could go about like that, and that was it.
Wow.
So I jumped in. I stayed the course. I didn't cheat at all. I mean, 20 carbs or less a day. I started having eggs and cheese and fatty steak and all this stuff. Well, I had my doctor appointment reset to go back in for my second cortisone shot on March 22nd. That's as soon as they could get me in. So I go into the doctor, orthopedic surgeon right here in Pewaukee, and I walk in, same doctor that gave me the first cortisone shot, and he goes, how you doing? I said, well, doc, I said, honestly, I called in February, but you couldn't get me until today. And I said, I'll be honest, I don't know if I need my second cortisone shot. I said, I started this crazy carnivore diet, and in 2 days, my arthritis went away. And in 2 weeks, I could go like this. And he kind of looked at me funny. And he was like, really? I said, yeah. I go, it's really weird, but I can raise my arm. It hurts a little, but I can do it. And he goes, okay. So he gives me all the range of motion tests that he gave me back in November when he gave me my first cortisone shot. And he goes, yeah, you're good. Keep doing what you're doing. He goes, I don't know about the carnivore diet too much, but it seems to be working. So keep doing what you're doing. I said, okay, thanks very much. I hope I don't see you for a while. And out the door I went. And I'm on, 14 and a half months and have no intention of changing anything at this point.
14 and a half months. Good for you.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm getting close to a year. It'll be a year in June sometime. So I'm getting there. Michaela's story is really powerful. I remember when I first came across her videos on Carnivore, says Susie. Yeah, I think Jordan and his daughter Michaela, they are very, very key voices in the carnivore scene. I just wish we could access them a little easier.
Right. No, I agree. And they are powerful. And they're also a testament to the longevity of this lifestyle because, they're on, I think, year 7, 6 or 7, somewhere in there. And they're amazing. And that's, he talks about how crazy it is, even in his new videos. He said, I can't believe I'm still doing this, but it's cured so many things for them between depression and her skin issues and her arthritis and all this stuff. She's had 2 babies while being on it. So obviously that isn't an issue, for the baby or being pregnant or anything like that.
Right.
And it's just, their videos are very powerful. Anybody watching this, if you haven't seen them, just type in, those 2 on Joe Rogan and listen because it's, 6, 7 years ago before carnivore really kind of took off. I think they really helped it take off. But her story is miraculous, period.
Now back to your story a little bit. Could you share like what your health was like before you started the carnivore diet? How did things look?
Well, interesting. My heaviest, I was 214 pounds. That would have been like 2015, 16, 17. And it's one of those where it just sneaks up on you. There's like 5 foods, JT, that I don't like. Brussels sprouts, sauerkraut, liver, raw oysters, and there's probably one more I don't really like, right? And other than that, I eat anything.
Really?
So I've given all of that up for the most part. But I have I went in and saw my doctor in 2012. He put me on an NMR or did an NMR blood lipid panel test. And this was before insulin resistant was really much, known the way it is now with Dr. Bickman and a lot of these metabolic doctors talking about it. But the NMR test, one of the things on it is an insulin resistant score based on where you fall on this chart. And in 2012, I was insulin resistant, actually very highly insulin resistant, and my doctor didn't know it. And so I didn't know it. He goes, yep, we're going to put you on a statin and we want to get your LDL down. But in reality, I was insulin resistant, which was causing all kinds of health issues for me, to the point where I had diverticulitis, which is how I met my current doctor. I had appendicitis a couple of years after that, emergency appendectomy. I had gout in my big toe and a bone spur that I had needed to have surgery on. I had not necessarily irritable bowel syndrome, but um, my intestines were never fantastic. Like right now, my stomach, my large intestine, my small intestine has never felt better. It's crazy, but I'm going to get graphic here, but I hardly ever fart anymore. It's the weirdest thing, right? But when you're eating salads and mushrooms and all this stuff, my God, I was a factory, right? And most people are, right? Just reality of it. If it grosses you out, sorry, it's just one of those really awesome benefits you don't really talk about much, right? I had really sensitive teeth. That's all. My sensitive teeth are gone. I could only drink lukewarm water for years and years and years. I couldn't drink cold or hot. And now I can drink super cold or super hot, and I have no sensitivity in my teeth whatsoever. Obviously, I had the shoulder. I had arthritis in my elbows for the most part. Not a lot of arthritis other places, but the elbows were bad anytime I grabbed something or whatever. And those are just the quick health things I've had off the top of my head. And I know even though I wasn't 100 pounds overweight, for me, I was 40. I've lost 42 pounds since my heaviest. I'm down to 170 right now, which is my high school weight.
Wow.
Never would have thought I'd be my high school weight again at 54. Just not, it's not what you think of, right?
Right.
But now I have more energy. I know what to do with. I wake up between 5 and 5:30 every morning, whether I set an alarm or not. Like this last weekend, I was up at 5:30 Saturday and Sunday. I was out in the yard by 7 a.m. Doing yard work, and I basically went OMAD Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I had a big ribeye for dinner, and then I just worked all day. And it was weird. I never got hungry and I never got tired. And I'm pulling buckthorn and I'm hauling wheelbarrow stuff around and cutting the grass. I had to go over to my parents and help them they have a koi pond, and I was cleaning the filter out, which is these big giant lava rock bags for the biofall filter and stuff like that. And I just did it all day long and never got tired. I went to bed at 11:30 on Saturday night. I woke up at 5:30 on Sunday. I was right back outside. I can't explain that at 54 years old, eating one meal a day and nothing but a really fatty ribeye, except I know I'm in deep ketosis and my energy level is off the chart.
So what is one of your favorite changes that you've noticed in your overall health or well-being since starting Carnivore?
Well, I would say three things. One is the amount of energy that I have every day. I feel like I'm back in high school or college, and I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. I played 2 sports in Division II college, played football and baseball in college, and I was, on the go all the time. That's just the way I was as a kid, growing up, all that. But in my late 20s, early 30s, and through my 40s, man, I would eat and I would be like tired and dragging, and the whole sugar, insulin, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I would say that's my number one thing, even though my shoulder is so much better. The amount of drive that I have to get stuff done or do things, whether it's work, I probably put 20,000 steps a day in at work. And just to know that, hey, guess what? I'm not going to get tired today. I'll get tired at 10 or 11 o'clock, but it doesn't matter what my day is going to look like. I'm just going to rock through it. And it's consistent all the time. And that's probably the biggest surprise for me, is that obviously having my shoulder, I'm in the weight room and I'm doing yard work and I'm lifting heavy things, and I have zero shoulder pain. Is probably number 2. And then I would say number 3 is kind of a toss up between the arthritis, but also being at 170. I mean, I feel so much better at this weight. My clothes fit better. I've gone from an XL to a medium in some of my polo shirts and down 2 pant sizes. And There's so many things, right? Because it's all encompassing, because you're letting your whole body heal, and I never would have thought my sensitive teeth was from my diet, but it's not here anymore. So it had to be from my diet, right? Things like that. But I would say those are my top three.
Sensitive teeth is definitely one too on my list. Like, oh man, it just you can't when you can barely drink water, it gets on your
Right.
nerves.
Yep. You get like that shooting pain up through your jaw and all that. And the other thing, which I know Carrie talks about, I don't get sunburn anymore. Like, I can't explain that either. Like when we were up at the meetup in
I got a
Thiensville.
farmer's tan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was out 3 hours on Saturday, with no shirt on and no hat and no anything on. I didn't get sunburn at all. I can't explain that.
It's amazing.
I like one of the doctors in this space to figure out why, if you're on carnivore, you don't get sunburn anymore. Because I would be a lobster if I didn't have 50 on, SPF 50 on.
I got a little red, but I put bacon grease on it, and that really helped. You got a
Nice.
question here. Question, Jeff, what are your favorite cuts of meat? From Susan.
Well, all right. So my favorite cuts of meat, I would say in order, would be number one, a ribeye. Number two, a porterhouse, which is basically a New York strip and a tenderloin. Number three, a New York strip. And number four, a chuck eye steak, which a lot of places don't carry. But a chuck eye steak is a ribeye at the very end of the big ribeye roast. It's the little part that goes into the chuck roast. And my local Pick and Save by me has chuck eye steak every day. And sometimes it's on sale for like $5.99 a pound, which is really inexpensive compared to, let's just say, a normal ribeye, but it's the same steak. It's just smaller. For example, right now I have the Pick and Save coupon. They have New York strips on sale for $7.99 a pound. So for the next week or two, I'm going to be eating New York strips because they're on sale. And I rotate my steaks depending on where I can find them on sale. I don't spend $20 a pound for steak. I never do that. I've learned over the year and a half or so, Sam's Club has steaks on sale early in the morning, or when they're going to expire the next day or two, they'll drop them on sale. Most grocery stores have a discount area of meat that is going to be going, where they need to donate it because it's the sell-by date. So they put it in a special spot and they mark it way down. And then I look for these sales, and Pick and Save or Kroger, honestly, has been the best. My local Pick and Save here in Wales is absolutely fantastic for that. So those are my favorite four, in that order. And 14 and a half months, and I am not sick of it, and I can't explain that either.
Yeah,
That's weird.
I never get sick of it, ever.
No. So hopefully, Susie, that answered your question.
B-Dog. Oh. These stories are so good, confirming they don't get old. Exactly. I agree with you. Here's another question from Susie. How often do you weight train? How is your exercise recovery on carnivore?
Once my shoulder got better, I was realistically 2 days a week. And I'm 54 years old, and I was on a statin for 7 or 8 years, and I kept complaining about my muscles hurting and all that. And I know that I had a lot of muscle degradation because of the statin. So I am trying to kind of build back up. And with that, it's painful. When you push your muscles, they bite back at you. And, one thing I learned in college, and with my FIAD degree, was that it's not super good to lift all the time. You want your muscle to fully recover before you weight train again. And so for me, at my age, I'm just listening to my body. If I weight train on a Monday, I can't maybe get in the gym till Friday because I'm still sore Wednesday and Thursday. And at my age, I'm not in a bodybuilding contest. I just want to get my strength back. So I just go when my body says I can go, and sometimes it's 3 days a week, and sometimes it's two. Um, but I do recover pretty quickly. I just make sure I'm fully recovered before I get back in the gym. But my job at work and here around the house is also very physical. So I get a lot of working out in just doing my day-to-day job, a lot of lifting heavy things and moving stuff, and especially in the wintertime because I'm shoveling snow at the dealerships and all that, hauling salt bags like crazy. And so it's exhausting, just on a normal day, but 2 to 3, depending on my body.
What were some of the biggest challenges you faced when starting carnivore? Was there anything challenging for you?
I would say the biggest challenge for me, it's weird, but would be just getting through the digestive adjustment with your gut biome and changing everything out, because for the 3 or 4 months before I went carnivore I was eating like a giant salad every day, so that takes a completely different you know bacteria in your gut versus just putting meat and fat in it, right? So that was an adjustment period. But the biggest one for me was a 10-day headache when I started, and I had done some research of carb withdrawal or sugar withdrawal, and I knew it was going to come, right? I didn't realize how addicted I was to carbs or sugar. But my headache reminded me, oh yeah, boy, you're 10 days of almost a migraine. I lived on Tylenol and naproxen, but I was bound and determined to get through that, knowing it was temporary and it would go away. And I woke up on day 10 and I was a new person that day. I had no headache. So I had gone through that withdrawal, and all of a sudden my mind was clear. I had no headache, and I woke up full of energy, and I was like, holy crap, is this what it's going to be like? Because it was amazing, truly amazing, and well worth the 10-day headache. Well worth it. But those were probably the biggest two things. I mean, remember, I love steak anyway, right? And I love scrambled eggs and bacon and fish and ribs and chicken and all the stuff you can eat on carnivore. I just never ate it a lot because, that was bad for me and I was going to die of a heart attack and my cholesterol was high and all that kind of stuff. So for me to just jump in and say, hey, I get to have steak every night, I was like, hell yeah, and I still do that even after all this time. And I'm looking forward to when we're done with this to go cook a steak, you
Yeah,
know?
I'm still shocked that I can eat scrambled eggs and bacon every morning on this diet. It doesn't get old. How did your mind adapt to, like, okay, I'm not gonna have like a biscuit or a roll with some butter with my steak, like to not eat the carbs, to not have the sugar, like.
Well, the Dr. Westman video was really eye-opening on the 20 carbs or less a day. And I kind of really adopted that rule because I didn't give up coffee and I didn't give up my coffee mate creamer. And that was 5 grams per serving. I probably had 2 or 3 servings of that in my big coffee in the morning. And then I counted carbs and that's all I did. I ate like crazy, excuse me, but I didn't eat carbs. And I forget the video I watched, but I'm watching all these videos. I mean, I'm really diving in the beginning, like 5, 6 hours of videos a night. It's February, March, it's crappy outside. What else am I going to do, right? It's dark at 5 at night up here. And I'm like, okay, so I'm just diving in, learning all about this stuff. And I come across this video of some guy, and I don't even remember where he lived, but he had done carnivore, lost a bunch of weight, got ripped. He was younger, like 30-ish. And his one thing I really remember was he said he would tell himself when he would see that stuff that is poison. And he would just tell himself, this is poison, you can't have it. Poison, you can't have it. And I adopted that mindset. And so, I mean, I'm at a car dealership and there is stuff everywhere every day, upstairs, lunches, vending machines, whatever. I mean, I'm talking we bake fresh cookies every day. We have all kinds of snacks out for customers. We have You name it, we have it. People bring stuff in, we celebrate birthdays and all this stuff. And I just was like, no, it's poison. I'm just not going to do it. And remember, I had a little extra motivation because I was bound and determined to not have surgery. Like I was just not going to do that. That video of telling yourself, hey, this is poison, clicked in my head. Um, and I adopted that and it worked. And not that I don't have a bite of something now, just because I want to remember the flavor or the taste, but I don't sit down and have, you know, a giant bowl of ice cream and 2 pieces of cake and then 3 cookies and then whatever. I don't do that, you know, but I can have one potato chip and go, okay, I'm good. But that one potato chip's not going to hurt me, right? Um, I'm fortunate, and I know that I'm fortunate because I do not fall off the bandwagon, or I don't go down that slippery slope where all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I need everything in front of me. Not like that. I know I have a different mindset than some people, and some people are really addicted and they can't do that. Like Jordan Peterson says, he goes, I can't do that or I'm forget it, right? I'm able to do that. I don't know if that's just a mindset with growing up the way I did with sports and football practice and just all that other stuff where I'm able to mentally do that. Um, but that's what I do. It's just poison. Don't eat it.
That's a great tip. That's a great way to look at it. Now, for those who don't know, me and you met at the Wisconsin meetup here in Thiensville, which
Yep.
was a blast. You brought your flat iron grill. The food was delicious. I had a good time there. Did you try any of Audra's those little meat chips she had?
Yeah, those were fantastic. I didn't get any of the beef ones because they were gone, but I did get the pork chips, and those were, Audra, awesome job, and those are fantastic. I can't wait to make them up here. But they were delicious, and that was a great time. Met a lot of great people there, all with the same type of story. And it doesn't, in a way, the carnivore community is unique because when you sit down and really dive into it, it doesn't matter if it's my story with calcific tendonitis, right, or Jordan Peterson's story with um, his mental health issues and his skin issues, or Michaela's, or any of the Dave Mack, or your videos, or Carrie's videos. It just seems like no matter what the issue is, for the most part, we end up over a period of time curing a lot of those issues. Um, and it's interesting because I'm watching this video right now. I'm halfway through it today, going to work and back and stuff with Casey Means from Levels and Jesse I think it's Chappis on his channel. And, she's really big in this space as well with all these doctors. And she was talking about how the same thing, like all the chronic diseases that are out there right now, and it doesn't matter, heart disease, dementia, mental health, cardiovascular disease, arthritis, skin issues, autoimmune issues, all of those things, the way the medical system is set up, they're funneled to a specialty doctor. But at the end of the day, they're all funneling down to metabolic dysfunction at a cellular level with the mitochondria and what's going on in your body. It just manifests different for you versus me versus someone else. But at the end of the day, the root cause is too high insulin and too much sugar in the diet. And she does a great job of listing out why that is and how things have changed. And if your listeners don't know who that is, just YouTube Dr. Casey Means, and she is a plethora of really good knowledge.
Great tip. Great tip. Jeff, we are about the same age. I had to do a lot of muscle rebuilding too. Carnivore helped me so much. We're catching up on a
And
few
yeah,
older comments here, Jeff.
yeah, no worries. Congratulations, Susie, and I'm right with you. Right with you.
B Dog, I love bacon, eggs, and steak too. Yeah, you really can't go wrong.
No,
I,
there's a reason why us humans like those things. It's because that's what our body wants.
right.
Period.
Great to see the both of you. Thanks, JJ and Eric.
Yep. Thank you. Great to be seen.
I quit smoking. My cravings was like hell yesterday. I finally managed to only eat meat today. Only meat and yogurt. Good for you, BK. One
Yep.
day at a
Great job.
time, and that's a victory. One decision at a time, too.
Yep. One meal at a time, one day at a time. It's like anything else. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You just worry about the next day and the next meal and just stay the course. Things happen, your body will adjust. Like Casey talks about in her video, she goes, you are replacing your entire body every couple years, even though you look the same. You're changing your cells out, and you can truly become a new person
Hmm.
at every cell in your body within a very short period of time if you just give it what it really wants. So stay with the course, BK, and good things are going to happen.
You got this. JJ and Eric, I just made some of the pork chips last week. Ooh,
I'm jealous.
I gotta make some this weekend. It sounds like a fun thing to do this weekend, actually.
Yep.
Woohoo! Yeah, Thiensville. Let's go, Ellen. Hey, JT, we'll have to have a cookout in the park to celebrate your carniversary. Absolutely. It's coming up soon.
Which day is that, JT?
June 21st.
All right. Yep. That'll be here in the blink of an eye.
Yep. B Dog. I make beef chips all the time now. I just started something. Saw you at the Thiensville meetup, Jeff. Simply human.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a fun day, and man, we got
That
so
was a
pumped
great day.
with that weather. Woo.
Yeah. It was just like today, 70 and sunny. It was awesome.
Those were great. Need to learn how to make those. Yes, it's on Audra's channel. Everything Audra. She was there too. Good. If you guys got a question for Jeff, put a Q in front of it. Let's see here. Oh, those chips that Audra had were great. Yeah, those little, they tasted like Lay's potato chips.
They did, except they were all protein and fat. So with a little salt, they
Oh,
were really good.
they were
So
so.
Audra, if you're watching this, 2 thumbs up.
I have made them in my dehydrator and oven also. 6 hour thin cuts, 165 degrees. Interesting.
Yep. So I'm gonna try those, but I'm gonna do them in a smoker.
Interesting.
I'll have to report back. Yeah,
Yeah, I want to know how that works out for you.
I will. I'll
Now,
let you know.
what does a typical day of eating look like for you, Jeff?
Well, it's super simple. I get up in the morning, I have coffee. The last couple, let's say 3 months, I do heavy whipping cream, I do MCT oil, and I do 2 drops of iodine, and that's my coffee. It gets me a nice jump start, 0 sugar, pure oil or fat. And then I will usually eat, I call it like a brunch or a lunch breakfast, somewhere around 10:30, 11:30 to noon. That is typically either some leftover steak with a can of sardines, or it's like today was sardines and 3 pieces of string cheese. One of my employees, one of my co-managers there, grew up on a farm not too far from you, and they make their own string cheese, and it is the best string cheese. So that was my lunch today, and then tonight I'm going to have a steak, and I pretty much do that every day. It just makes it really simple, really easy. I have sardines at my desk. I buy them at Costco, so I have them. I don't run out. I never knew I liked them until I tried them about a year ago, and I know they're super good for you in many different aspects between the omega-3s and the protein and stuff. And that's kind of my whole day. Like I don't eat a lot anymore. I almost never snack, and if I do, it's usually a piece of cheese, or some leftover steak, or something super fatty, and a steak at night. And my typical steak is about a pound. It's not super big. And that's it.
So like maybe 2 meals a day?
Yeah, and sometimes I'll, like this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I had one meal a day. I didn't eat all day. I was out doing the yard work and I wasn't hungry, so I didn't come in. And that was it. I just made sure it was a big fat ribeye, and I eat the whole thing, all the fat, everything. Um, Clean my plate, and I went to bed. Like it's weird, JT, because remember, there's only 5 foods, or 4 or 5 foods I don't like, period. Right? And I could eat the best of with anybody. I could eat half a pan pizza, 3 pieces of garlic bread, and chug it down with 2 beers and call it a day, and not worry about it. But now I can't eat that much even if I wanted to anymore.
Interesting.
It's so mind blowing, for me, and I keep saying it, but it's like if you would have told me when I started that all I was going to do is eat steak pretty much and never get sick of it and feel like I'm 20, I'd have said you were full of crap. I said, no way am I eating steak every night for 14 and a half months. I said, no, there's no way. But here I am, and it's the only thing I crave. And when you watch these doctors on YouTube, they say, listen to your body. Your body is going to tell you what you need. It's just, you got to listen for the sign, right? Well, my body is still craving steak. So whatever repair I'm still doing, and when you think about it, yeah, it's 14 and a half months, but I'm still like a rookie at this, right? Compared to like Michaela Peterson or Dr. Baker or some of these other people that have been 15, 20 years, doing this lifestyle. I'm just still a rookie, and there's a lot I have to learn. But I am listening to what my body's telling me. And when I crave bacon, I go eat bacon. And when I crave a steak, I have a steak. Like I tried chicken thighs, I don't know, a month ago roughly, and can't say I really liked them. And I was a big chicken fan, but I liked breaded chicken on a bun or breaded chicken fingers with barbecue sauce. Your typical go out fast food, I'm going to get chicken tenders and dip it in three gallons of barbecue sauce, right? But just like chicken didn't do it for me. I was craving a steak. And so I'm kind of done with chicken, right? I don't know. I can't wrap my head around that still to this day, but it's what I do.
How do you do carnivore like when you're on the go, out and about, like at a restaurant? Do you ask?
I don't go out, I almost never go out to eat. One thing that I do, so we went to the Luke Combs concert in Milwaukee on the opening night at American Family Field. And I knew there was going to be all kinds of stuff there because we went early and we tailgated and all that. And I had about a pound and a half of ribeye and then left. And guess what? I wasn't hungry the whole night.
Oh,
So I've learned that if I am going out and about for any length of time, that I try to plan a meal right before I'm going to leave and make sure that I'm really full and that I'm really satiated, and then I can go anywhere for 8, 10, 12 hours and not even blink. And that's a trick I've learned. It works really well for me. I think I had one beer with the guys and my daughter, and that was it for the night. I didn't eat anything. I didn't do anything else. I didn't have any hamburgers or all the stuff that's there because I wasn't hungry, right? If you just eat because you're hungry and not eat because you want to eat, it's completely different mindset, but that's how I do it when I'm out and about. Now, the other thing I've learned to do is, my daughters play travel softball. So coming up in another month, every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm going to be out of state sitting in a softball field literally all day. And, the concessions are typically hamburgers, hot dogs, junk food, whatever. So I learned last summer that on Wednesday, before we leave, I make like 6 or 7 steaks and I cut them up and I bag them and I take them with me and I eat cold steak while I'm at the softball field. I actually really enjoy it. And I'll bring some cheese and some stuff like that. And that's how I eat at the softball field. I don't buy concessions. I don't eat any of that stuff. If we go out to dinner, we've gone to Longhorn Steakhouse or Texas Roadhouse, and I pick out my steak and I have a steak. Just a lot more expensive than if I make it at home, but I stay with the steak. I don't really cheat or do anything because I feel too good to want to feel crappy. You know what I mean? Because I ate something I shouldn't have eaten and go, oh, what did I do that for? Right? Like, what was I thinking? Right? I'd rather just be hungry than have to feel like crap for a day or 2 days or 3 days, whatever it is. You know, I remember Michaela saying in her video, I think she added tofu to one of her meals and it blew her up for a month. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to do that.
Right.
I've worked too hard. I've stayed the course for so long. I feel too good to say, oh, I'm just going to try that now. No, I'm not going to do that. You certainly can do it, right? It's not probably going to kill you, but I don't want to do that.
Well, that's some great tips. Now, like when you get cravings, how do you handle your cravings? Do you ignore them? Do you just go eat something else that's carnivore? Like, what do you do personally?
I'll be really honest. I don't get very many cravings. You know, I'm one of the fortunate people where I just don't. And, you know, like the other day I put the peppermint creamer, we got peppermint creamer, which is our favorite. It's been our favorite. And I tried that the other morning. It was, let's see, I did that Monday night. So yesterday, I tried that in my coffee again and it tasted gross. Like my taste buds have changed. Everything's changed. And this morning I went back thinking I would like the peppermint creamer because it was my favorite, to going, God, I didn't like that at all. Like, ugh, right? And so I went back to my MCT oil and heavy cream this morning, and I was like, okay, now I'm good, right? But I don't get cravings, and I can look at food and go, oh, poison, you know. And I watched this video. Again, I think Dave Max had her on, Dr. Zoe Harcum. And I don't know if you've watched any of her videos or not.
No, not yet.
And I watched this maybe 3 weeks ago, and she was on Jesse Chappis as well. And she's from Wales in the UK, and her biggest thing that I learned from it was my carnivore aha moment. And I've been doing this for a while, and it was like the number one thing that I was like, I'm actually going to make a video on this. Like, holy crap, no wonder carnivore works so well. And I Googled it because I had to make sure, because it's just, I got to double check, right? So she in her video goes, how many grams of glucose or sugar are dissolved in your blood, JT, at any given moment? What is your homeostasis level where your body wants to be? What do you think that is?
I'm not sure.
I wasn't sure either. I had no idea, right? What if I told you it's 4 grams? 1 teaspoon of sugar is all your body ever wants dissolved in its blood at any given time. Interesting. I was like, what? And I'm a picture guy. I can remember a lot of things if I can attach a picture to it, right? Show me something once, I'm gonna remember how to do it. So as I'm researching for this video I want to do, I went to the McDonald's website and I just Googled up a typical meal in McDonald's, right? Guess how many carbs are in a typical Big Mac with large fries and a large soda, which is the standard, one of their best meals, right? One of their highest selling meals.
Probably around 60 carbs.
About like 180.
Oh, okay.
So when you think about that, your body wants 4 grams of sugar at any given time, and you're going to go eat a meal with 180 grams of carbs in it. That's all going to convert to sugar in your blood. That's the only thing it can do, is convert down to sugar. the end of the day, doesn't matter what it is, it converts to sugar. So you just gave your body way more sugar than it knows what to do with. So now your insulin is going to spike, and it can only do two things. It can either push that sugar into your muscle, and if your muscle's full, because you're sitting all day, which most Americans are sitting, a lot of us sit at desk jobs and do whatever, then it's going to push it into making fat, because it's the only two places that the insulin can push it to, one or the other. And if the muscles are full, then it's going to go into your fat storage. So that was a big aha moment for me on why keto, carnivore, ketovore work, because when you're eating super low carb, your body is actually going, thank you for not making me spike my insulin and overwork my pancreas and have to store all this extra sugar I don't want into my fat cells. And when people need to understand 4 grams of sugar is this little tiny bit. And if for whatever reason you get low blood sugar when you're on a low carb diet, guess what? Your body and your liver make it, gluconeogenesis, make it out of protein to get you back to the 4 grams. That's like a big aha moment for me of why you and me and Carrie and all these other people that are losing all of this weight, why it works so well. Because you're actually giving your body exactly what it wants in high fat and protein. And, people can go on and just go to Jesse Chappas's video and, type in Dr. Zoe Harcum. It was a mind-blowing, really scientific video of why you don't need carbs. And she comes right out. You don't need carbs, they're not necessary, period. Oh, and you don't need fiber either, because those are just starchy carbs. She does a great job of it, way better than me. I'm not a doctor, she is. But that was a mind-blowing aha moment for me.
That was some great info you gave us there. Now, what about your coffee? Has that stalled your diet in any way, or is that all you think that can coexist?
Well, it's been coexisting for me. So, when I started, I was about 197. I dropped down to 170, actually got as low as 169 on a weight. I want to say it was in the middle of July. So I had been on it for 3.5 months. I never gave up my coffee. I was still having my Coffee Mate fake creamer. But I just counted that as part of my 20 grams of carbs a day. I just followed the Dr. Westman rule. It's not my rule, it's Dr. Westman's rule. He's a diabetic weight loss doctor at Duke University. He's got his own web channel. You can go check it out. But his rule is 20 grams or less a day. And I just followed that because I didn't want to go 0 carbs per day. I didn't feel I could do that. It's really hard to go 0 carbs in a day. So I just stuck to 20. And I haven't given up coffee yet. I'm 170 pounds. I don't feel like it stalled me at all, but I didn't get into this to lose weight. The weight just happened, right? I got in this to see if I could fix my shoulder, which I did. And then all these other miraculous benefits came out of the woodwork, like my irritable bowel and, my arthritis and my sensitive teeth and all this stuff, right? So the weight loss was like, holy crap, I'm 170. Like, what? Really? But it did. I mean, I'm standing here, at 170, and I've been 170 for almost a year. I haven't gained any weight. I haven't lost any more weight. My body's just kind of settled. It's my daily routine: coffee, sardines for lunch, and then a steak, pretty much.
Well, there you go. It can coexist for some carnivores, and it's not a bad thing. Scooby, Ellen, great, Jeff. I think listening to your body and figuring out what works for you is what we all need to do. I agree.
I agree too, and it's this is not for what I do is not necessarily for you or for anybody else. It's just what works for me. And maybe you don't like ribeyes, right? Or you want hamburger. I know Jen doesn't really like steak, right? But she eats hamburger and eggs, and there's other ways to be carnivore or low carb without having a ribeye every night. I just choose a ribeye because it's my favorite cut, right? But I would say if you can stay on Dr. Westman's rule of 20 grams of carbs or less, don't overthink what you're eating. Just stay under the 20 grams of carbs and then eat as much as you want when you're hungry. Like those are my two rules. I eat as much as I want when I'm hungry, and I try to stay under 20 grams of carbs a day. And I don't overthink it.
And you're looking good. So, you know, if it's
Thank you.
for you,
It's working. It's 14 and a half months of working. You know, and like I said, this last weekend, being out in the yard and just going nonstop all day, I could not have done that 2 years ago. Not even close. Not even close.
see, I love hearing stuff like that. B Dog says Olive Garden fettuccine Alfredo has 96 grams of carbs. Wow.
Remember, your body wants 4 grams in your blood.
Yeah, those seed oils are not good.
No, their fries were way better back in the day when they did them in tallow.
Burger King too, they switched over to all the seed oils. Hey guys, by the way, this is Jeremy from the Thiensville meetup from Sheboygan. Have you guys had any luck at finding a doctor in the area that promotes low carb? I need a new doc, LOL. I have not found anyone yet, but I haven't been looking yet either, so in all fairness.
I have not. I have been looking. I know Dr. Cywis, if you look him up on YouTube, Dr. C, his last name is Cywes. He does online consultations anywhere. He's out of Florida, but he's a low carb doctor. He's got a ton of videos out, but he does take insurance and does consultations from anywhere in the country. I think even in the world. So he might be one to check out. But if around Wisconsin here, I have not. I'm still looking too. I have limitations with my insurance on who I can go through. But I will tell you, Jeremy, be really firm with your doctor. Okay. And what I mean by that is, you know, I told him at my last physical, I'm doing carnivore, and he kind of was like, okay, got to watch your cholesterol. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. Right. However, he was blown away that my shoulder got better. He was blown away that I lost all this weight. He was blown away at my lab work, which is all good. He just thinks my LDL is too high. But I walked in with, and I was just like done with it. Right. And I walked in with 2 papers that Dave Feldman and Nick Norwitz have published about lean mass hyperreactors and this lipid energy model for people that have higher cholesterol when on a low carb diet. And I gave them those 2, and I gave them this book. See if I can do this. I gave them this book by Dr. Bickman. And I said, here, I was insulin resistant in 2012, and you didn't know it. And he kind of looked at me because I was kind of going right at him. I said, look, I've been insulin resistant for years, and you had no idea what it was. And I said, all the crap I've been going through is because I was insulin resistant. Please read this. I said, 80% of your patients are insulin resistant, and they don't know it. And I just hit him right between the eyes with it. And I like the guy, but, you know, he's trained with what pill solves what issue, and is worried about getting people in and out and trying to make them feel better and all that. And I'm trying to educate him, like, look, I'm not that normal person anymore, right? I'm on 0 meds at 54 years old, 0. And I told him, I said, I'm not taking a statin ever again in my life. Don't even bring it up. It's never going to happen. I felt like crap for 8 years on that, and I'm done with it. And I know he's got to do his CYA and put it in the notes and do all that stuff. But I said, look, I'm not doing it. He referred me to a cardiologist. I gave the cardiologist the same stuff. And I said, look, I have high LDL. I don't care. Dr. David Diamond doesn't care. Dr. Nadir Ali doesn't care. Dr. Obadia doesn't care what your LDL is. Nick Norwitz doesn't care. There's this whole big study going on right now about lean mass hyperreactors. And the preliminary information coming back, they just released a video on this a week or two ago, is that there's no plaque burden. Someone like me who has high LDL and high cholesterol compared to somebody who has really low cholesterol, their CCVT scans are not showing any difference in plaque, none, zero. And I can't wait for that to come out. I guess the video is supposed to come out sometime this summer with the results and the scan, side by side of a year apart. And that's going to be really interesting. I've had every test I can think of watching these heart doctors. Homocysteine normal or low. My LP little a is low. My high sensitivity CRP is super low. My HDL has gone through the roof compared to all the years of my life. I was always in the low 40s. I was an 80 or upper 70s. My triglycerides have crashed into the 60s. I was always 180, 190, 170.
Did you want to show them some of your charts?
What was that?
Did you want to show them some of your charts that you had?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to really show very well, but I can certainly try it. It's worth trying if I can get it to do it. So bear with me here. So this is my NMR chart. And what I did is I had an NMR lipid panel done way back in 2012. That's the red line. The box score is from August, and the blue line is just from this last March. And you can see on here that all of my numbers, except for my LDL score and my VLDL score, have gotten way better into the green, which that is a type A pattern blood profile, which is lower in cardiovascular disease. Okay. Not that it's perfect, but my cardiologist, I showed this to him. I charted it out for him in my last meeting right after my NMR. And I said, okay, doc, explain to me why my numbers are going to the left of this chart into the green, and some of them way into the green, right? Compared to before. And all I'm doing is eating steak and high fat and eggs and bacon and cheese. I said, how do you explain that? He goes, well, I can't explain it. And I said, I know. Here are the 2 papers about the lipid energy model and why the way that works with your cholesterol, why when you're on a low fat diet and you've lost a lot of your visceral fat, why your body cranks up the LDL and cranks up the VLDL is because that is what is my body is using as my fuel source. I'm burning fat. I'm fat adapted. I'm no longer burning sugar. So in order to keep up with my energy demands, your body automatically cranks up the VLDL, and then a byproduct of that is higher LDL. And then a byproduct of that is higher HDL. So my HDL has gone from the 40s to the 80s, and my LDL has gone up, and my VLDL has gone up. But according to the study they're doing, as of right now, because all my other factors are good, except for my LDL level, which you can find plenty of doctors out there that say LDL is almost non-existent anymore as far as a bad cholesterol, right? I'm not terribly worried about it. Now, if somebody is a vegan, they're going to say, oh my God, you're going to die tomorrow of a heart attack. I'm going, well, okay, but all my other markers I've tested for cardiovascular disease, like my high sensitivity CRP and my homocysteine and my fibrinogen and all this stuff is all ultra low. All of it. I don't have something glaring at me other than my LDL. And I've done enough video watching with Dr. David Diamond and Dr. Ali and some of these other cardiovascular doctors where I'm honestly don't care about my LDL level. I feel too good, and I know that I'm not insulin resistant anymore, and I'm not inflamed because my high sensitivity CRP says that I have no inflammation. I'm a 0.23, which is ultra low.
Love it. Everything's looking good. You're feeling good, and that should count the most. You know your body, you know how you feel, and if you're feeling good, that's worth the price of admission by itself. B Dog, after this summer, my doctors are going to be Dr. Berry, Dr. Chimpy, Dr. Baker, Dr. Hampton, Dr. Wiedemann. Yep,
Hmm.
those are
I
good.
go to my doctor because I need my physical just to make sure. And if I need an antibiotic for something like a sinus infection or something like that, other than that, I don't care what my doctor says about anything else. There's way too much information with these doctors in this space, um, to where they're my doctors too. And Dr. Bickman is one of my favorites. Truly explains why we are where we are.
Absolutely. Susie says it's so odd to me that the doctors can overlook our obvious health improvements on carnivore and just zero in on the LDL.
Yeah, but Susie, that's what they're trained to do. Um, that's what they learn in school. They don't have nutrition classes. Some of the doctors get out of that and they figure this stuff out. Like a lot of the doctors we're talking about were regular practitioners, and then they said, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. My patients are like this. And then they do the work, and then they go, oh, okay, well, this is why. And thank God for all of those doctors, and thank God for YouTube, because without that, I would have had shoulder surgery because I wouldn't have known any different. Without those people out there talking about this day after day after day, educating us average people about other possibilities of curing your illness, you just be stuck in the medical system, which is where they want you. The doctors hate me. They make no money on me. I'm not on any prescription drugs. I don't go to the doctor unless I absolutely have to. And, they don't want that. They'd all go broke. They want us all to be sick.
Yeah, that's how they make their biggest buck is when we're sick. So it's an unfortunate thing how this system is set up. Now, man, an hour flew by. I like to
Yeah, that
end
was quick.
by asking people, my guest, what's on your heart? What would you like to talk about? And leave us with as we on the way out here.
I would say open your mind. If you haven't tried carnivore, and I know a lot of these people are on carnivore, have tried it, but if you stumble across this video and you haven't tried it, you have to open your mind to the possibility that what you've been doing for however long you've been on this earth is the wrong way. And I say that going back to my 4 grams of sugar in your blood, right? I just learned that. I'm 54 years old. I've never, ever heard that in my life until just a week or two ago. And when you understand that, and then you understand the world that, at least in the United States and the Western world, that we live in, with the way food is marketed to us and what's available, there's a reason why if you're overweight, you're overweight. Now, the question is, are you willing to do something about that, knowing your body only wants 4 grams of sugar in its blood at any given time? Right? So what can you do? Well, stop putting it in your body, right? Stop having soda, stop having cookies and all the other crap, because all you're doing is creating insulin in your body that doesn't want to be there. Insulin is a reaction to too much of something, which is sugar or carbs, and it's screaming to get the sugar out. We just accept it as normal because that's what we eat, and our body does it, so I'm not going to worry about it. But the problem is when you do it over and over and over and over for 10, 20, 30 years, you become diabetic, and you become insulin resistant, or you have arthritis. You have all these other illnesses that are going on that Dr. Bickman talks about. But you have to wake up and say, hey, why am I sick? Why do I feel like crap? Well, it's 98% of the food you're putting in your mouth, right? And if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always gotten. Okay? And choose to be different. Take the red pill. Take the red pill. That 4 grams of sugar in your blood is the inconvenient truth about what your body really wants to be at on a blood sugar level. 4 grams, 1 teaspoon, nothing. And yet we'll dump 100 or 200 grams in 2 or 3 times a day and consider that normal and wonder why we're 100 pounds overweight and we feel like crap. Right? One of the biggest things, JT, is people have to admit that they're addicted to sugar or addicted to carbs. And I didn't really get that until I had my 10-day headache. And I was like, oh, okay. But I'd come home and have a half a bag of potato chips every night before dinner. I was a chipaholic. Literally a half a bag of potato chips. And if there was a new chip on the market at Sam's Club or Costco or Pick and Save, I was buying it because I had to try it. Don't do that stuff. You know, you have absolutely nothing to lose, and it might change your whole life on a 30-day challenge. And I got that from Jordan Peterson. Try it for 30 days. God, I can do anything for 30 days. 30 days. It's a month. Guess what? It'll be 4th of July tomorrow, and we'll all be looking at fireworks, and guess what? It'll go in a blink of an eye. Just amazing stuff.
A month is what I did. That is what got me hooked on it. And after that month, I said, man, why would I want to go back? I basically was a brand new person in 30 days. So, and that's why
Yep.
I labeled this stream "Feel Like a New Person" on Carnivore, because that's your story. You literally feel like a new person thanks to Carnivore, and I want to congratulate you. It's an awesome story, and I'm glad for you, man. You can come to all these cookouts and bring the flat iron, and you can do everything
Absolutely.
you need to do in life, and I think that's amazing. And that's another thing I have it flashing on the bottom. We believe that everyone can benefit from the power of a proper human diet, and you're just another example of that, Geoff.
Well, JT, thank you. It was a pleasure on the call today. Um, I just encourage everybody to just admit that you're addicted to carbs and try it, because if you would have told me how good I would have felt right now, how good I feel right now, a year and 2.5 months ago, I said, you're crazy. I'm 54 years old. I'm tired all the time. I feel like crap. And here I am. I feel like I'm 20 back in college. It's truly amazing, but you have to experience it for yourself.
And you're starting a YouTube channel, so you
Yep.
guys go and subscribe to his channel, KM Carnivore. I've got it up here on the screen. I will link it in the title of this video as well when we get off here. So yeah, make sure you go subscribe to his channel and then stay connected. So
Yep. Stay connected. I try to go through and answer all the comments and stuff on my videos. I do have a new video dropping here in the next couple days. My daughter is finishing up the editing because she does all that for me, because that's not my thing. And that is going to go through basically a whole bunch of my tests and lab work over the last year, some of which we talked about today, but with visual and pictures. And you can see I have no problem sharing all of that, because it's just factual stuff of me healing and getting better. And I just want people to see that. It's kind of like Carrie with his heart stuff and his arthritis and all that other stuff. The more that we can get out there, if you're willing to, and show your stuff, it just helps with the narrative, because we're going against the grain with medicine and big pharma and big food. And it needs to be heard, because as a country, we are sick. It's just, all you got to do is look around.
absolutely, it's just look around. You'll see them all at the drive-throughs, at Walmart, wherever. So
Wherever.
yeah.
You know, I sent you that picture, and I know we can't get it up here, of a picture I found on Facebook from the 1970s, and I screenshotted it, and it's a beach picture, and there isn't one person overweight, not one that you can see in this picture. And there's a couple hundred people in this picture, and not one person is overweight. And now you go to the beach and take a picture, and it's holy cow. It's so different. You know, and it's like, you know, I know I've seen some of this out there, but it's like the boiled frog, right? You're in this pan of water and they turn it up and it gets warm and you feel like you're in a hot tub, but then all of a sudden you're boiled and you didn't really realize what happened, right? Because it's such a slow process of eating like crap every day, every day, every day for years and years and years. All of a sudden you wake up and you go, God, I feel like crap. Why am I so heavy and what happened? But it's that, and you have to just stop it. You just have to do it for yourself and for your family and the people around you.
That's why I did it. I wanted to be here as long as I can be here, and I think you're going to be around a long time, Jeff. Thanks for sharing your story today, everybody. My coach will always say there's value in there's value in repetition, because it's the first law of learning is repetition. So make sure you go and rewatch this story, and there's value in Jeff. There's value in his story. So it's worth the replay. And thank you if you watch this live or the replay. Doesn't matter. Thank you. And Jeff, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the next cookout when we do whenever, and
Absolutely.
update here on the channel of how your diet's going.
JT, it was a pleasure. Hats off to you and Anna too. Keep doing what you guys are doing. I've been following it, and it's fantastic. I'm super happy for you guys and your little one there. So just keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing, having interviews and all that. And I look forward to seeing you at our next meetup. Thanks for having me on. Thanks everybody for listening. Until next time, eat meat.
Eat meat. We'll end it at that. Thanks for tuning in.